Morning, Alberto.
Morning, Carmen. Morning, Alberto.
Hello, everybody.
Morning, afternoon,
Morning.
evening.
Or as we say
Morning,
in Australia,
Jonathan.
just simply, good day.
Okay.
Good day, mate.
I love the Australian style.
No Nina yet, which is unusual.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw it, so I just checked my email, but normally she emails me in the morning when something is not succeeding. So I keep an eye on it, and otherwise I will call her.
Yes, good. I just sent her one-liner just in case she's got the time mixed up. But if she doesn't turn up in 15 minutes or so, it might be good if you give her a quick call.
Yes, I will.
Thanks,
I will.
Carmen. Kritika, Nopadom, Chanti. We can't hear you, Jyotika.
I said good morning or good afternoon or whatever. Good whatever.
Good day, mate. I just learned Jyotika in
Is it day,
Australian
mate?
style. Good day, mate.
Oh, good day. Good day.
Except you have to shorten the good part. It's just good day.
Oh,
Good
good
day,
day,
mate.
good day,
Good day. Good day.
good day, mate.
That's
What is-
perfect.
What is
Carmen.
mate? What is mate? Good day.
Friend, pal,
Okay, okay,
friend,
mate.
pal, buddy. Yeah.
Maatje, maatje. Good day, mate.
Let's check. Jan, are you here now?
Yes, สวัสดีค่ะ Good day.
Sadika, Jan.
สวัสดีครับอาจารย์ครับ
สวัสดีครับ
Sawadika.
Good day, cup.
Does anyone have anything they would like to start with? Jyotika, I think in the second half of the discussion last week, you were asking, well, who is speaking? And it seems I can see Sarah or Jonathan, but actually no one to see, no one who can see. Any other comments or considerations after the discussion?
No, but in my head is another question at the moment, another question, but
Go ahead, Jyotika. Go ahead.
No, the thing is, what is now really it was on neutral feeling. Neutral feeling. If I hear neutral feeling and say neutral feeling, it is like something what is not of big, not of worth. It's lesser. It's lesser. And then I thought, but it is, in fact, it is equanimity. We say Vedana equanimity. And then it is a beautiful feeling. But then you come with pleasant feeling, unpleasant, and neutral. I need some explanation, I think, about what is What is neutral feeling? If it is that you are so with real equanimity, I feel it is a good thing.
So I think you're talking about different meanings of the Pali word upekkha. So
Yes.
upekkha can refer to neutral feeling, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
It can also refer to equanimity, which arises with all wholesome chittas, or equanimity in particular, that is a Brahma Vihara, which, as you say, is a beautiful Chaitasika, not a feeling. And then there are many more meanings of upekkha. So the first meaning of upekkha that you refer to, neutral feeling, there can be, like now, there may be just a very little attachment, but no pleasant feeling. It may be just a little attachment with neutral feeling. So it's not wholesome, it's still akusala, it's still the neutral feeling with attachment. Or it may be at moments of ignorance. When there's ignorance, there is neutral feeling too, indifference, not understanding, not knowing anything, neutral feeling. So it's akusala, not a sobhana chaitasika at those moments. There can, at moments of understanding, there can be moments of wholesomeness with neutral feeling when it's just a very little understanding or just a very little wholesomeness. So neutral feeling can arise with wholesome or unwholesome chittas, or with, of course, with vipaka chittas, like at moments of seeing, at moments of hearing, smelling and tasting. The feeling at those moments is neutral feeling, not pleasant feeling, not unpleasant feeling. So this is one meaning of upekkha, referring to the Vedana, the neutral feeling, which arises with those vipaka chittas, the akusala chittas, kusala chittas, or even kiriya chitta, like the chitta before seeing and hearing. It's a chitta which is not wholesome, not unwholesome, not result. It arises with neutral feeling. So this is one meaning. But the second meaning you're referring to, when upekkha, as equanimity, this is tatramajatata chaitasika, a sobhana chaitasika, which arises with every wholesome chitta. And so it is a beautiful reality, as you mentioned, a beautiful chaitasika. And at moments of showing kindness, moments of equanimity to the circumstances, it's a wholesome chaitasika at those moments. So there's equanimity, upekkha, at every moment of wholesomeness in a day. So not to be confused with a feeling. In this case, it's not a Vedana, it's tatramajatata. And there are other meanings of upekkha too. Is that a little bit clearer? So two different meanings of upekkha.
It is not clearer in my feeling, I think.
So when we talk about,
I do not know anything about, I do not know about neutral feeling. I think I don't know what it is. I don't know how it is, or it is just all ignorance, or but that equanimity. So we cannot use, we can use the equanimity also for neutral feeling.
equanimity is not feeling. It's not feeling at all.
Oh,
Equanimity refers to
it's not feeling at all.
It's not feeling. It's not
No.
Vedana. No.
it refers to an equanimous state of mind,
Yeah, and that feels
but not feeling. No, feeling is different.
We might say it feels equanimous, or it feels good, or it feels this, but this is just conventional speak. It's not Vedana, which is feeling at all. So now at this very moment, is the feeling pleasant or unpleasant, or neither pleasant or unpleasant?
equanimity, I think. Equanimous.
But if we're talking about the Vedana, we're not talking about equanimity. We're just talking about the feeling. So the feeling can only be pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. So now at a moment, if there's seeing now, it's neutral feeling. If there is ignorance now, there is neutral feeling. Sometimes we have no idea. So this neutral feeling is different from equanimity. Equanimity usually arises with pleasant feeling because it's a wholesome cetasika. So when we're talking about Vedana, we're not talking about equanimity. Equanimity is not feeling.
Equanimity is not feeling, so I cannot use equanimity for neutral feeling.
No, no. Quite different.
But I have this list of 10 meanings of equanimity. And then there is also equanimity as feeling. I don't know.
I think it's because we get mixed up with the term upekkha, which is used for both, but the meaning is quite different. For example, we hear about some difficulties or disturbances. Usually there may be aversion, but sometimes there's equanimity, acceptance. And that equanimity may be with pleasant feeling or neutral feeling. It's a wholesome cetasika, the equanimity, but it's not the feeling.
And Jyotika, can I just ask a question, Jyotika? What is your interest in sorting out this question about neutral feeling and equanimity?
Maybe to say how I feel.
But that
I feel calm. I feel interested. Then it is a.
But that's when we say I feel interested, that is just a manner of speech, isn't it? Because different from when we're talking about the mental factor of feeling, which accompanies every moment of consciousness.
Yeah.
So
but that's also difficult.
When we say I feel sad, then really that is dosa cetasika, accompanied by unpleasant feeling. But the root of the sad feeling is the dosa cetasika. And the feeling that accompanies that particular citta is naturally then unpleasant feeling. So,
and I feel balanced. I feel at ease.
These are all conventional manners of describing a situation rather than talking about different individual mental factors. Feeling at ease can be a sense of calmness, wholesome calmness, or it can be, of just feeling pleasantly, a pleasant liking of a very subtle kind, which one is not aware of. So feeling at ease can be kusala or akusala, depending. Mostly for us, it's akusala, because there's attachment to the pleasant feeling. So it helps, I think, to focus on the different realities rather than the conventional situation.
Nowadays, everybody feels zen.
Yes. And what does it mean? It's meaningless, actually, because it could be wholesome or unwholesome, kusala or akusala. It doesn't help to say, among people who are familiar with the same body of teaching, they will understand the meaning of that accordingly. But in terms of the things that the Buddha taught, as we understand it, it's just a combination of different mental factors. Maybe it's pleasant feeling and unpleasant feeling arising interwoven with each other. one after the other, one pleasant, one unpleasant feeling, different moments of consciousness. So, as Sarah said, one can consider what is the feeling at the present moment. And I think for many people, it will not seem that there is either pleasant or unpleasant feeling as we are sitting here discussing. So it's either total ignorance of feeling altogether, or it's neutral feeling. Something like that, but it doesn't really matter. We don't have to try and see neutral feeling, but it's helpful to learn that it is one of the 3 different kinds of feeling, or 5 different kinds of feeling, depending on how they're classified, that may be arising at the present moment. And as Sarah explained, the mental factor of equanimity is a mental factor in its own right. It's not a kind of feeling. It's a
mental factor.
Yeah, it's the capacity to not to be disturbed or perturbed by the present experiences.
Yeah.
The mind is evenly balanced, as it were.
So when we say conventionally, I feel interested, or I feel calm, or I feel satisfied, it's not the understanding of Vedana. It's just a conventional usage of feeling, different from the reality of Vedana, which arises at every moment, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral.
Yeah.
I think this is a very common confusion, mixing up the Vedana with equanimity. So it's understandable because they both use the word upekkha.
Yeah.
But that's why I said, what is the feeling now? Because it's not feeling interested. It's at this moment of seeing, is it pleasant or neutral? At the moment of being annoyed, unpleasant feeling is more apparent. When there's a strong attachment, the pleasant feeling is more apparent. So this is the Vedana that can be understood little by little, which arises with every citta experiencing the object in a pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral way.
Yeah, I understand on the intellectual level, I think.
When we say, I feel interested, what are the realities? There must be the citta, which is experiencing the object, thinking about the object. There must be chanda that takes an interest, either in a wholesome or unwholesome way. And there must be Vedana, if there's interest in a wholesome way. Usually it would be pleasant feeling, but it could be neutral feeling. Or if one is interested with a lot of attachment, then very pleasant feeling at those moments. If one is interested with anger or annoyed with something, then the interest is with unpleasant feeling at that moment. So we learn a little bit more about different kinds of feelings, different realities now, to understand no I to feel interested, no I to feel calm, no I to see or hear or anything.
Yeah, that's another thing also with no I, yeah. But there is some.
We always come back to this topic of no I to feel, no I to see, no I to be interested,
no
I to come here or go there. That's why we talk about the different realities.
No, but there is still feeling, toch? Yeah.
Feeling at every moment, but not my
Yeah.
feeling. Not I am feeling.
Yeah.
And it changes all the time. Moment of pleasant feeling, moment of neutral feeling. Each one falls away instantly of no significance. There is always looking for pleasant feeling. But when pleasant feeling arises, it's gone instantly. And then there's unhappy feeling or neutral feeling. So it's just a moment of experiencing the object and then gone.
Okay.
Good topic. Hello, Nina. Glad you've come. We can't hear you, Nina.
Yes, you asked something.
I just said hello. Glad that you've come.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you would like to bring up or anything you would like to?
Yes, about the subtlety of Dhamma. Last week, Ajahn said many times that Dhamma is so subtle. And I was wondering what this implies. Whatever appears does not appear as it is. That was one way of explaining that Dhamma is so subtle. But maybe Ajahn knows other ways of looking at the subtlety of Dhamma.
What is there now? See, even this question, is there any understanding of the truth of what is there? Just one reality at a time. We just follow the word. There is seeing. Yes, there's seeing. But what is seeing? The nature of it, the reality of it. Because usually there is the idea, I see. But consider that. Is it I or a reality which sees? Because we cannot give the answer, what is I at all? Can there be the answer for what is I? Or what am I right now? No understanding of the truth of whatever is there. That's why there is the idea of when it's no one there, it's me. So seeing at every moment sees no one. So it is I which sees. But in truth, no understanding of seeing as just a moment of what? Of the reality which experiences an object. We just heard a lot about the reality which experiences the object, but it's just the word. For example, consider more careful about seeing, just seeing, in order to understand any moment of the reality which arises and experiences an object. So there is now seeing. See, and we heard the term seeing sees, it's a reality, and we give the name citta, the reality, which is the chief of experiencing an object. But how much understanding of citta? Because it's forgotten all day. No one thought about it at all. If we don't talk about it, no thought about it. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, no matter what. That must be the reality, which is the chief of experiencing what is there. For example, when there is attachment, it is attached to that which is seen or heard, for example. So it's the reality which arises and is attached to the object instantly as its nature to arise, to attach, never change at all. Its function is to be attached to whatever is there with ignorance, no understanding the truth of it. So each moment in life, it's just like this attachment. seeing different reality at a time, and no clear understanding, precise understanding of its characteristic as that reality. For example, chitta is chitta, and attachment, aversion, and the other realities can experience the object, but it cannot perform the function of chitta in a day, anytime, any moment. It's there all the time. Whatever appears, even right now, it is that reality that we call chitta arising and experiencing it. So it's there. Just it experience that which is there to be known as it's there, but no understanding of the truth of what is there. Just is there. Like seeing now sees, it's there, see, and that it is a reality which has the nature or the quality or the function to arise and just experience the object as a key of experiencing the characteristic of the object which is experienced. That's all. And this reality is forgotten all the time in a day if we didn't talk about it. So it's not just the word, the seeing sees, but the seeing is a reality for sure because it sees now. And its characteristic is that which arises to just experience the object clearly. That is the function of chitta in a day, all day, from moment to moment, never missing at all, always there, presenting, it's there. But no one knows the truth of it. That's why we talk about feeling. If there's no chitta, can there be feeling? But feeling is not chitta. That's why there are so many realities in a day, as what we take for things, something, or I, or people and things. But in truth, they are all just one characteristic of a reality which cannot be changed. The ultimate truth, the absolute truth. Seeing just arises to see. And it's not just seeing, as we call it, seeing arises to see. It's a reality, arise to experience what is there. So we heard a lot about these words, but can it be a moment of getting closer and closer to be acquainted to the reality which experiences an object? That's why we heard more and more about seeing or chitta, different from cetasika. But at moment of seeing, is there such understanding of the seeing as it is? And how can there be the letting go of that with understanding that it is not me or anyone at all? It's just a moment in samsara, conditioned to arise and to see. Just consider the truth, whether it's true or not. And that is a confidence of the truth of what is there as it is. So chitta is a reality which arises and experiences the object. It's not the attachment, aversion, and other reality at all. But it's just there all day, arising and falling away. And its function is to experience the object with, through the eye door, ear door, and so on. That's all in life. So can it be a moment of being tired or letting go? The function of a reality which has to arise and perform its function in samsara, non-stop, from moment to moment. No one there, and it cannot be permanent at all. Just learn to understand the truth of each moment, that what are there in a moment. For example, the moment of seeing is not the moment of being attached at all. It's different. That's why learn to understand the details of what is there in a day, so that there can be a little more understanding of letting go the idea of self or something from that which appears. And this is a point of hearing again and again about the details, about cetasika and paccaya and so on, just to getting closer to understand the reality which we have learned about. That's all. So now, is it close now to seeing when it's there? When it's there, not when we think about it. That's why it's quite very subtle to understand the absolute truth of what is there now, as not it is, or not as it is at all. Because in truth, nothing is permanent, a moment, only a very short moment, split-second moment, see? And learn to understand each one that is there, unknown, until it's there, known as the reality, absolute reality, and then getting close by understanding, which condition direct awareness with direct understanding of what we are talking about, no matter it is feeling, remembering, or whatever is there now, unknown, to be known, little by little. And that is the point of hearing about it, to understand the truth of what is there now, when it appears as it is, because it's so short, very, very short, just a moment and then gone. But they're conditioned for whatever arises to be object of understanding through the six doorways. In life, what appears is only through six doorways. And we talk about what is there at each moment of experiencing an object through one doorway at a time. For example, seeing, hearing, only one moment in life, in samsara. So what are there now? Unknown, until we just learn about it little by little, to become used to the nature of it. See, what is there? What was there just a moment ago?
Hearing.
So what is the answer for that? What is there? In truth, little by little. It's real, and it's a reality different from other reality. What is real now is that which is now appearing. And it's there and then gone by conditions. But what is it? If we don't use the term sound, it's a reality. And if we don't use hearing, it's a reality which arises and experiences what we call sound. Otherwise, sound cannot appear, and there's no hearing. And what is hearing? It's true, it's a reality. It arises to experience what appears as it is. So at moment of hearing, that arises to hear the sound, that's all, and then gone. From moment to moment, from life to life. Again, what is there? Uncontrollable, already arising and falling away, never to arise again. That's all. In a moment, that's all, only that, and then gone. So what is I? Where am I? Who am I in truth? No I at all. Seeing is seeing, hearing is hearing, thinking is thinking, feeling is feeling. Only a moment appearing and gone. Until it appears as it is, little by little, closer and closer to the absolute truth of that which is there, arising and falling away right now. but ignorance is there. So it's covered up by ignorance. That's why there is a term in Tipitaka, just open up the citta, because it's covered up. And without understanding, can anyone open it as this is the reality, which is now the chief of experiencing? What is that? From moment to moment, different ones. From morning up to now, and on to night, and then next day, and then on and on to next life, and so on. Is it true? That's all. More confidence can creep on little by little to understand the truth, which is covered up. Is it subtle? Again, citta experiences that and then gone. And the citta is not known at all, only sound appears. So without citta, which experiences sound, how can sound is there to be heard, to be known? That it's there very shortly and then gone. Just is it true to have more confidence that all dhammas are so very subtle? It's not there anymore. From nothing to something and then nothing again. So what's the use of something as that which from nothing to something and then to nothing again? Sunyata, anatta.
So Jyotika, a short while ago, Ajahn asked, what is there? What is appearing? I didn't quite hear your answer, whether you mentioned feeling or hearing at that moment, that time. Hearing, yes, because the sound was appearing and straight away, it's just sound that is heard, but straight away there is interest in the sound, interest in what the source is, where it is. So at those moments of interest with attachment, pleasant feeling, at other moments there may be some disturbance, thinking about the sound with some slight annoyance, and then unpleasant feeling at those moments. So different moments, but just sound that is heard, but thinking about it with different feelings so soon afterwards. at the moment of hearing, it's just neutral feeling at that moment. But as soon as there's interest, then pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling, depending on the kind of interest, or it may be neutral feeling. But we forget at this moment it's just the world of sound that is heard, that's all. As soon as there's thinking, no hearing at all at those moments.
And just to follow up, Jyotika, when you said you were interested, when you asked about the question of the neutral feeling, whether your interest in it is at a conceptual level or more concerned with wanting to understand it, to see it and know it.
You are asking me.
Yes, I'm wondering where you're,
I like
what's
to
your,
understand it.
whether you're having a difficulty comprehending the concept of neutral feeling, or whether it's more that it doesn't seem to appear.
I want to understand it. This is to understand, and that I also can feel it. I feel very clear when there is a happy feeling, a pleasant feeling,
Right.
when there is a restless feeling, unpleasant feeling. But the neutral feeling is a thing. I know that we make these three things, but not. I don't know how it feels.
I think then
And it must very often
your
there.
concern is more at the level of directly experiencing.
Yeah.
And I think that we don't have to worry too much about the fact that it doesn't seem to appear in the same way that pleasant and unpleasant feeling appear or seem to appear, because obviously they will be more noticeable to an individual than a neutral feeling, just by definition almost. But I think when we say we know what a pleasant feeling is and an unpleasant feeling is, that also is not direct understanding of the reality. It's just a conventional knowledge, a conventional knowing of those feelings, because they are obviously, but even then it's only the pleasant feeling at a certain level of intensity that is known. The subtle pleasant feeling isn't directly known, nor perhaps the subtle unpleasant feeling. So we may think we know those two kinds of feeling, but really it's just it's not the same as the direct understanding of the conditioned reality that is pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling anyway.
And can you tell then what is direct understanding?
What do you mean? Can one tell? Understanding that has been developed will understand those realities when the time is appropriate. So no one can tell when that will be. It may even be some understanding at an imperceptible level. But again, it's not something one has to be too concerned about, because the understanding is a conditioned reality, and as and when it arises and takes an object, there is that understanding. And whatever the object is, it is the understanding is being developed, regardless of what the object of the understanding is. And that's the main thing. That's the development of the path, the understanding of any reality that is appearing at the present moment. Perhaps in your previous studies of Dhamma, you are familiar with the idea of focusing attention on different realities to come to know them. But we understand that that is not truly the teaching of the Buddha. The teaching of the Buddha is just that understanding arises by conditions and takes an object of its choosing, not one that we might think needs to be better known.
Yeah.
And I have a question for you, Jyotika. Who or what is it that feels pleasant feeling?
The feeling.
The feeling itself feels in a pleasant way, an unpleasant way, or a neutral feeling.
Yeah.
Can I feel pleasant, or can I have a pleasant feeling?
No, when there is no I, then is there also not I feeling.
Right. So it's just the Vedana which arise and tastes in a pleasant way, feels in a pleasant way about the object experienced by the citta, or feels in an unpleasant way about the object experienced by the citta, or in a neutral way. So it's just the Vedana itself which arises and feels the object in one of these ways and then falls away. No one that has a pleasant feeling, no one that feels pleasant or unpleasant. Just Vedana arising, forming its function and falling away instantly. Is pleasant feeling dukkha?
The Buddha said so.
Yeah. Whatever is conditioned in the deepest sense is dukkha, because it falls away. It doesn't last at all. So all through life, there is the searching, the looking for, the trying to have pleasant feeling. But actually, each moment of Vedana, no matter what kind, it's dukkha, it's unsatisfactory and gone immediately.
Because of that, it is not. That it is going away, that it is changing.
It's going away, and it's not in anyone's control, because it's, as you said, no one to experience it, no one to make it arise, no one to hang on to it. When the conditions for it to fall away, falls away immediately.
Yeah. Thank you very much for explaining.
For everyone, there has to be considering, reflecting, discussing. It's very important.
Sarah,
And Lena, yes, Sita.
I was considering, there's no I. Am I correct? There are 5 kinds of feelings, but then there's this sukha and domanassa. Where does it lies? It under Vedana or the other Dhammanupassana? I'm not. The sukha and domanassa. I cannot hear.
I can't hear you. I can't.
As Jonathan said, the Buddha talked about Vedana in many different ways. Sometimes he classified as 3 kinds of feelings, sometimes as 5, sometimes more. So when we talk about 3 kinds of feeling, like we just have been doing, we're talking about any kind of pleasant feeling, any kind of unpleasant feeling, and neutral feeling. So the pleasant feeling includes the pleasant bodily feeling as well as the pleasant mental feeling with attachment or understanding or wholesomeness, for example. The unpleasant feeling includes the painful bodily feeling and the unpleasant mental feeling with aversion. When we talk about 5 kinds of feeling, as you mentioned, then sukha refers to the pleasant bodily feeling only at moments of touching, when it's a pleasant object, pleasant feeling arises with the citta, for example, when touching softness or just the right temperature, pleasant feeling at those moments with that vipaka citta. And the dukkha in that way of counting feelings refers to the unpleasant bodily feeling, the painful bodily feeling when touching something sharp or when having aches and pains, unpleasant bodily feeling. And the somanassa refers to the pleasant mental feeling, like the pleasant feeling with moments of attachment, the pleasant feeling with moments of joy or wholesome cittas. And the unpleasant feeling, the domanassa, refers just to the unpleasant feeling that arises with dosa. Unpleasant feeling cannot arise with attachment. It cannot arise with ignorance. It can only arise with dosa with ignorance. So in that way, it's classified in 5 ways, yes.
And is this domanassa as grief? Grief is classified as domanassa. Am I right? Am I right?
Domanassa just refers to the unpleasant feeling, like we were discussing when we're talking about the Vedana. We're not referring to other realities like equanimity or grief, but just the unpleasant feeling. So when there is grief, when there is sadness, when there is thinking of any kind of aversion, unpleasant feeling, domanassa, arises and feels in an unpleasant way at those moments, again and again and again. But each moment of unpleasant feeling with that grief falls away. So it's just for a moment, but then another moment. But in between, there are moments of seeing and hearing. At moments of seeing, no domanassa. Moments of hearing, no domanassa. So it seems that the unpleasant feeling lasts a long time when one is grieving for a long time. But actually, it's just a moment and then gone.
Okay. That's all under Vedana, no?
That is Vedana, just referring to the pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feeling, not the equanimity, not the grief, not the upset or disappointment or anything else, just the Vedana itself.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, go ahead.
Hello, how are you all? Ajahn, may I ask a question about experiencing? Because you frequently talk about citta is constantly experiencing an object and falling away. But what is the actual nature of that experiencing? And can we actually know it?
Yes, but sure, what appears now is there nothing or something there appearing?
No, there is always something appearing.
Okay, how can it
rapidly falling away?
appear?
So,
for example, sound, how can it appear? Just appear, or how can it appear?
well, it can only appear as an object to citta, but I think my question is around what is that actual experience. It's not thinking, is it? We're not, when we talk about chitta experiencing an object, we're not talking about thinking, because thinking comes at a later stage. So what is the actual function? What is that function of experience? Is it like recognizing, knowing? Yes.
That's why we have to understand the three moments, to understand the difference between realities which arise and experience an object in different manners, different characteristics, different function. For example, at moment of sound appearing, how can it appear? Appear to what? See, now sound is there.
Yes, I think that's what I'm trying to get at, is that there is something that there is something else as well as the sound, and that's the experiencing of the sound. But can that be known? Can the actual...
Yes, so that which experiences it is there, right? But only one object, one reality can appear at a time. When sound is there appearing, that which experiences it does not appear. That's why learning to understand the reality which arises and experiences an object. Otherwise, there's no world, nothing at all, from life to life. But when whatever is there appearing, there must be the reality which experiences that object. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
So, no one think about it, the reality which experiences an object in a day. Just think about the object which appears all the time. But it appears to what? At that very moment when it appears to what? Only to that which arises and experience it. See? So whatever is there in life, in the world, no matter what world, all depends on the reality which arises and experience the object. That is its nature, its characteristic, its function, just to arise, to experience clearly the characteristic of the object, no matter what. That's why we learn to understand different moment of different object, but there must be a reality which is there, arising and experiencing at that very moment, only that object. That's why learning to understand what is there which is hidden. No one thought about it, but it's there from birth. Never lost at all, from moment to moment. It's conditioned, presented to the moment unknown as it's the reality which experiences the object. For example, sound now, it's that which experiences sound. And when there is thinking, the object is the thought. And what experiences it? Memory marks, vitakka, and so on perform this function. But the reality, which is the chief of experiencing the object, is always unknown. That's why without understanding just one reality at a time, a little more, deeper and clearly, it's impossible to directly experience the truth of that which experiences the object, the chief of experience the object. Otherwise, nothing can be there at all. Nothing can arise without that which is the chief arising with whatever mental factor. But this is the characteristic, only one characteristic, which experiences the characteristic of the object. Only that clearly is function as manindariya, the chief of experiencing, performing the function of experiencing. That's all. And attachment or ignorance arises with at the moment of citta, when there is something with it appearing like attachment. And one object can appear at a time. Even attachment appears to the citta, which experiences it. Otherwise, how can it appear? The characteristic of attachment is then known as I like it, very little or very much. But the reality which experiences that characteristic, which like or attached, does not appear until it's known little by little to be citta nupassana satipatthana, the true nature, very precise characteristic, which arises to just experience the object, while the other reality arising with it appear one at a time. But without citta, which experience it, it cannot appear. No matter it is anger is there with citta, but citta is not known, and anger is known when it's there. That's why one reality can be experienced at a time, only one. And the reality, which is the chief of experiencing, cannot be changed at all. It arises just to be the chief of experiencing what is there in anywhere, anytime, unknown. That's why it can be opened up to be known when there's more attention and understanding the difference between the mental factors and the chief of that which experiences, which does not have any other characteristic like attachment, aversion, greed, or hatred, and on. Whatever is there, all are experienced by citta, but the experiencing does not appear. Only one reality, the object, as object can appear to be known. At moment of liking, desire, attaching, at that moment, it can be there only when citta is there, experience that characteristic. So the characteristic of attachment is known because it's there as one object, like sound, like visible object, like smell, and so on. That's why we have to understand the difference between citta and cetasikas. And what is the chief of experiencing? Without it, can the attachment be known? It's there known because citta experienced that characteristic. So it appears to be attachment or aversion or whatever. It's really the chief of the world of experiencing. Otherwise, nothing can appear at all. That's why everything is under the power of citta. Without it, nothing can be known.
So it's like the means whereby the world appears.
So that can be the understanding of without citta, which is the chief of experiencing what is there appearing. Nothing can be known at all. Or without citta, no cetasika can arise. Because citta is the chief of experiencing that object together with other cetasika, like phassa. It does not experience the object as clear as a chief as citta. It just that which experience the object by touching, by way of just touching, only that. Because it arises as a reality which experience, but it's not as a chief. It's only a reality which arises to experience by touching. Just touch, because it knows, it experiences, and it touches. While Vedana is another one. It feels, it does not be the chief of experiencing the object. But when citta is there, experiences the object so clear, Vedana arising with that can be that which is almost in a day not known because it's neutral. But when it's dukkha or sukha, it's known as its characteristic. But if citta is not there, experience that, how can it be the object to be known? Like now, So what is there must be the object of citta, and while the other cetasikas perform their function differently, together with citta, because citta experiences the object so clear that it conditions attachment, aversion, or ignorance, pride, proud, ego, anything, all depends on the arising of citta, which experiences such object to be known that it's there. There is attachment, for sure, but can attachment arise without citta, experiences that object? And at moment when it's there, it cannot be known if citta does not experience it. For example, there is a neutral feeling like now. It's not known. It arises in far away with so many cittas unknown. But when it's known, citta experiences it. So it's there to be known. Like citta hears, so the sound is there to be known. Citta sees, so what is seen is there to be known. So citta experiences hatred. So hatred appears to be known. Otherwise, how can hatred just arise by itself? It has to be the object to be known. Citta experiences everything, even nibbana and whatever. The function of the citta is just to arise and experience the object only, clearly, that's all. And the other mental factors experience the same object with different characteristics. No one at all. That's why even right now, what appears, no matter what, citta experience it. Otherwise, how can it appear? Even its manasikara, viriya, sanda, cetasika, even they arise together, but the cetasika, which arises with citta, depending on the other moment when it's the object of citta, so it can be known. But at moment of experiencing an object, what is the citta and cetasika? What is the object of understanding? Even citta sees now, it experiences the visible object now. Can it be known? It has to be known by panya, the other moment, to begin to understand the characteristic of the reality which never been known at all, never been thought about at all, just attend to the characteristic of the object as rupa, hatred, and so on. And without understanding the characteristic of citta, there cannot be letting go of whatever is there as something or I. There must be I all the time because citta is there all the time. That's why each word has to be clearly understood, like citta is the chief of experiencing. Everything is under its power. At moment of its experiences, it brings about what is there, which has been accumulated.
And Ajahn, I suppose that, as you often say, that it does not appear well. The citta that experiences is assumed, or we deduce that it's there because a reality. Well, actually, every reality doesn't. We know theoretically that it appears, but the fact that there is sound and visible object, we know that citta must be there for us to even be thinking about it, but we don't know it directly.
That's why what appears well appears only to panya. When it does not appear to panya, it cannot appear well. And appear well means that it begins to show up little by little as it is. For example, the reality which is the chief of experiencing the object, seeing sees. It sees the different realities as it is, to be known as it is different, one characteristic at a time. While cetasika, like attachment, does not perform that function. It arises to be attached with ignorance, no understanding of the truth. That's why when we learn about what is there in life, in samsara, from moment to moment, non-stop, without understand it as just a reality, as no one at all, it cannot let go. The way it is accumulated to be ignorant and attachment to what is there, on and on, non-stop, cannot be eradicated. That's why when it appears well, it's different from the way in the day, usually as just without any understanding of what is there at all. If we didn't talk about it, can anyone think about one moment of seeing what is there and it's not there anymore? Only once in samsara, this is the beginning to understand the truth intellectually until it appears as nimitta of one characteristic to be known, that it is different. Seeing is not hearing. That's why what is there in the day, in life, can appear only through 6 doorways, while there are many, many different realities. But can it appear only through 6 doorways and one at a time? For example, now, at moment of seeing, there's no hearing. Not only no hearing, no other thing at all. Imagine how deep it is, how subtle it is. What is there around a sky and curtain and on and on? Not there anymore when it appears well. So how long it takes to develop the understanding that what is there now can appear well? We learn to understand a moment of experiencing different functions of citta and cetasikas and rupa. The eye base is not the ear base, and what can be seen has to impinge on the eye base, not the ear base, and so on. All are conditioned. No one can do anything because we think that we will do. It's there already thinking about to do. So what is there now? It's already conditioned to arise, appear, and then gone. Ignorance or attachment or right understanding begins to understand from the very beginning. We talk about citta, but citta does not appear as nothing, only that which has no shape and form, nothing at all, experiencing. That's why the question is about before seeing, what is there? Before hearing, what is there? To understand the characteristic of citta, which is there, but only right understanding can understand that there is a reality even before seeing. It's there, but it does not see, it does not hear. Otherwise, it is moment of seeing and hearing, but it's there at moment of no seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. But it's there in between. That's why we learn little by little, closer and closer to what is there right now, so close, but it's not known. So to understand the difference between citta and cetasikas has to be firm enough in order to understand the difference, to have the understanding of citta as the chief of experiencing. So everything is under it. When it does not arise, nothing can arise to be living being at all. And it's there talking about seeing is that which experiencing an object, and it's citta, not the cetasikas. which perform the function of seeing, to be considered the nature of that which has no shape and form, no other characteristic of like or dislike at all. It's only arises and now experience what is there. It's achieved, but it's hidden. No one thought about it until it's known little by little to let go what is there in life from moment of birth. Never absent at all. Always there, experience the object, different jittas. So the jitta which does not see, does not hear, is there. Not see, not hear, but is there as it has to arise to experience, and the object is not known. So there are different moments, the moment when object is known and the moment when object is not known, because it's not the object of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. See? It's there now. The moment, the moment before,
Actually,
in
sorry.
order to understand its nature, which is there, experiencing an object. So one is still alive because it's still there, experiencing an object. Even the object is not known through 6 ways. And there can be only 6 ways, no more, no matter in what life, in what plane of existence. So learn to understand a little bit more of citta, because usually we talk about cetasikas and the rupa and just the name citta, but it's there.
And Ajahn, I think you said, you used the word imagine, but we cannot imagine that, because there is no comparable experience to that. So that's why it makes sense that only Panya can understand that, but we can't understand that. I mean, I think even intellectually, thinking about something that has no shape or form, or like it exists, but with none of the conventional ways of thinking about something existing. Yes, that's quite perplexing. But in terms of how you're describing it, it has to be like that.
Because there are moments when nothing appears through the 6 ways, right?
Thank you, Ajahn. That is, there's a lot to reflect on. Yeah.
That's why we learn to understand little by little about the nature of citta itself, the reality which is there, arising and experiencing an unknown object, but it's there before seeing. Otherwise, no life when it's not there. That's why we can think back down to the moment of birth. It's there, the reality which arises, which experiences the object as a chief. And if we don't talk about cetasikas, it's different from cetasikas because it's the chief of experiencing an object, but the object is not known. So as there is Chitta at moment of birth experience the unknown object. Before seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, it's there. Right? Exactly the same. That's why we learn to understand what moment is moment of that which the object is not known. It's the moment before seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. So in the day, at moment of being fast asleep, is the object known? Because there is still chitta, not die yet. That's why I learn to understand the truth of what is there, to let go. The idea of I'm sleeping, or I see, or I hear, or I think. Because the reality which is the chief of experiencing the object must be there from moment of birth, arising and falling away, until it's different from moment of that birth as we talk about it, because it does not perform the function of birth, but it's a kind of chitta which has the same object, because it's the same kind of chitta conditioned by karma. It's there before the karma ends up at moment of death. It has to be there, arising and falling away as the result of karma, to see, to hear, and to think about whatever in one's life. And then no more, never remember it as past what was there in past life. And this life is to be the last life of next life. It has to be forgotten. So what is there in the day is forgotten about one day by one day until what's yesterday and what's last month and what is was last year. So just pass, not as so important as what is there now, which seems so very important, but it would be gone when tomorrow comes and so on. See, moment to moment, moment by moment, nothing is there. Only the experiencing, arising to experience, and the other mental factors by conditions are there, and then gone, never to arise again. When these realities are not directly, precisely experienced, there cannot be the letting go of attachment to what is there in life from life to life, because it's taken for someone, something, and I all the time. That's why it's not just talk about it, but talk about it in order to understand it, until it can condition moment of letting go the idea of something, until it can experience the object as it is at level of satipatthana and vipassana jnana, stage by stage. That's why it does not appear well at all now. But there can be the understanding of what is meant by appearing well, to panya, little by little, to understand what is there now sees. No thought about it, that it must be a reality which is different from other mental factors. That's why there has to be chittanupassana satipatthana. Otherwise, nothing can let go the idea of self at all, because the self is very deeply rooted at moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. And how amazing the truth before it can be realized, like now. So now, ignorance and attachment covered up all the time. I see, not yet understanding the reality which arises and see, not like or dislike. It can be learned, it can be understood because it's there. The experiencing, the seeing is not attachment, it's not ignorance. It's the chief of experiencing the object, no matter it's dark or white or light or vague, not clear. Citta experiences everything clearly as it performs the function of experience the object clearly, but not understanding like Panya. It just experiences the characteristic of the object as the object is. No understanding, just experiencing it.
Mm.
And this can be conditioned to begin to pay attention to the reality which experiencing the object as citta. Because if we don't talk about moments before seeing, there can never be the understanding of the pure citta, only citta, not other mental factor which experience the object. Arising, but as what does not appear because citta does not experience that. So how can it appear as different characteristic, attachment and anger?
Mm.
Even at that moment, there can be the understanding of the difference between citta and the cetasikas. That's why we learn to understand just one moment of one kind of citta, because they are different. Like seeing cannot be hearing by conditions, but the characteristic which is achieved is there. It cannot perform any function at all, only experiencing the object as it is, but no understanding of the truth because it performs the function of experiencing the characteristic of the object.
Mm. Mm.
And this is a beginning to pay attention, to have attention on citta until it's so familiar or acquainted to the characteristic which we just talk about, but we haven't met yet.
Mm.
But it's there all the time. That's why anything can be object of citta, even attachment or aversion. That's why at one moment of citta, it cannot experience what is there together, but the other citta can experience what is there of what citta.
So, Jan, I think I started off by asking what the nature of experiencing was. And I think I'm beginning to understand that citta is fundamental to the experiencing of the object, that it's not, the actual experiencing is not as important as the arising of the citta itself.
Because without citta, nothing can be there. No cetasika, no experience of what is there, no rupa appearing at all, like Nibbana, the end of samsara.
Mm.
Citta
Just one.
cannot arise.
Sorry, Ajahn.
Yes, please, Kunjursan.
Thank you, Ajahn. Apologies for interrupting. And just one brief comment made back to you that obviously the arising of a reality cannot be known before the arisen reality is known, because the moment of arising is a very high level of, requires a very high level of understanding. But what appears right now is the arisen consciousness that has the function of experiencing an object. So when there's seeing, for example, which experiences visible object, and hearing experiences sound, and thinking experiences the concepts of those realities, these are all kinds of experiencings. And there is something that is common between those three different kinds of citta, and that is experiencing, and it is experiencing that is what defines the sentient being, of course. So I just make the comment that the arising, although of course it's important, but it happens by conditions, and the actual arising will not be directly known until a much later stage of understanding. So we get used to the idea that it's just the experiencing now that is to be the object of understanding. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan.
I think we can continue this next week because it's an important topic. So thank you, Ajahn, and everyone.
Yes, thank you
Adhika.
very much, Ajahn.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Sawadee-ka.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Kun Sarah, Kun John, and everyone.
Thank you, Sarah.
See you all next week. Bye-bye.